Hello, my name is Brian Barnett. I'm here today to present my stakeholder, David Lyles, plant manager of Lone Oak White Public Water Authority, with the project that I've been working on this semester. The project that I've been working on this semester, David, is Source Water Protection Plan for Lone Oak White Public Water Authority. Lone Oak White Public Water Authority is a water treatment plant that provides many towns in Lone Oak and White counties in Arkansas with drinking water. Lone Oak White Public Water Authority was just a dream in the making for the board of directors and went through many changes along the way. In 2012, Lone Oak White finally broke ground. Lone Oak White gets its source water from Grease Ferry Lake, which is one of the cleanest lakes in Arkansas. The purpose of this project is to discuss potential problems that Lone Oak White could face by not having a source water protection plan in place. Also to propose an effective strategy to developing and implementing source water protection plan. Problems I identified during my research: a lack of source water protection plan, implementing a source water protection plan that does not limit the lake's ability to draw visitors, because everybody knows Grease Ferry Lake draws millions of dollars a year in tourist money. Also, the financial ramifications due to not having a source water protection plan. Research methods that I used was quantitative method, which was a Heber Springs area population survey, which consisted of yes or no questions, also short answer questions. The quantitative method that I used was operator observations. Problem areas around the raw water intake was the main area where we observed. Here is the survey that I actually distributed to the population of Heber Springs. You can see that the survey covers many different questions. You know, we wanted to know, do you live near the lake? Do you use the lake if you do live near the lake, or not? Another big thing for water treatment is, do you want to kind of know what kind of pesticides the people who live around the lake are using, what kind of herbicides they're using? Do you have any livestock? Livestock can cause a potential problem. Do you believe Grease Ferry Lake is clean? We also wanted to know if the population around Heber Springs knew that Grease Ferry Lake was used as a source of drinking water. Heber Springs population survey continued here. This was the short answer questions that we asked. If you answered yes on question 2, what recreational purposes do you use the lake for? We wanted to know, do you use it for swimming, fishing, boating? What exactly was your purpose on Grease Ferry Lake? What environmental protection changes would you like to see implemented to protect the quality of Grease Ferry Lake? The last one was, did you know of any potential hazards that Lone Oak White Public Water Authority needs to be aware of? I thought maybe, the population may know something that as operators we do not know. Any questions as of this point?
No, sir.
All right. Our analysis and findings: we surveyed a total of 365 residents. This survey operated on a 95% confidence level with a 5% margin of error. One of the biggest statistics that stood out was that 80% of the people surveyed lived near the lake. The biggest problem that I did find with the survey later on, it was we should have had a spot for whoever was surveyed to leave an address. That way we would know whether their runoff from their property would come back towards Grease Ferry Lake, or would it go below the dam and not affect Lone Oak White Public Water Authority. The operator observations that were studied seemed to prove some of the answers that the people surveyed gave. Both research methods pointed to possibility of shoreline erosion. survey results, these were very interesting. Like I said before, 80% of the people who were surveyed answered yes, that they lived close to the lake. 90% answered yes, that they used the lake for some sort of recreational purposes. The more alarming that we found was the pesticide and herbicides, that 75 to 77% of the people surveyed, of the 365 people, used some sort of a herbicide or pesticide. But the only, a good thing that came out of it is we've seen that of the 365 people surveyed, only 15% stated that they had some sort of livestock on their property. So that eliminates some concern in that area. And another thing was that 65% stated that they knew Goose Ferry Lake was a source water for different treatment plants on the lake. The question number 8, which was what purposes do you use the lake for, what recreational purposes? Mainly fishing and swimming. That was a given. We kind of thought that would be the main answer, but those was overwhelmingly the top 2 answers to that. Question 9, enhanced restrictions on natural gas pad sites and better stormwater runoff management was the main 2 policy changes that the people surveyed would like to see change to protect the water of Goose Ferry Lake. And then here's where we get into where the survey and the operator observations were the same. Both operators and surveyed people, the top answers was shoreline erosion and private docks not kept up properly. Here's the operator observations. Notice once again that the shoreline erosion was their top, number 1 on theirs. Nearby boat docks not properly taken care of was another one that they were concerned about. And lots of people on the lake using it for recreational purposes. The recommended action plan for this project, I recommend that Lone Oak White install a series of buoys at the intake. This will help keep both people that are unauthorized and let everybody know exactly where the intake lays, so nobody's getting hurt or nobody's getting on the intake, the raw water intake. We also suggest that a management plan around the intake to help eliminate shoreline erosion. By doing this, it will help keep the soil and silt from getting around the raw water treatment pipes, intake pipes, and should also help keep some of the turbidity from entering the plant. The third one, and probably one of the most important on the list, was start a community education and outreach program. This is one of the most important. As an operator, we need to educate the public on what they do at home or recreational has an effect on the water that we treat and the quality of water we're able to send out of the treatment plant. And at the same time, by starting the research outreach program and community education, we're able to listen to their concerns. That way, Lone Oak White is not implementing a policy or procedure that would hamper the recreational use of the lake without everybody having an input on it. Recommendation feasibility. The company can easily incorporate these solutions into policies that already exist, and these solutions would go perfect into building a source water protection plan. The time is required to implement and tune these solutions, but the end result will be worth the time. Recommendation cost. As everybody knows, no matter what you do, it's going to cost something. Installing the buoys, what research have we done? The buoys should range around $20,000. Depending on the buoy, it could cost as much as $40,000 to install. The management of the property around the lake, that's gonna be your most costly. We're estimating that to be around 50 to 60,000, depending on the, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers permits and policies that they have in place, and what stipulations that they put on the work that goes on around the intake. The community outreach program, in all reality, is not a real expensive process, more administrative fees just setting up the meetings than it will be to actually hold the meetings. Now this $500 to $1,000, it could range higher if Lone Oak White decides to do some sort of meal with the meetings. Sometimes in our research we found that people are more apt to come to a meeting if they know they're going to be fed while at the meeting. And that may be a way of Lone Oak White enticing the public to come out. Recommendation timetable, Plan 1, Phase 1 planning stage, which is establish an outline of the surface water protection plan, set up meetings with the public, and also contact the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and discuss the possible intake upgrades to the property. We're putting this at about 2-month time period by the time you get a hold of the Corps of Engineers, get a hold of the community leaders, and you're able to set up everything. We're saying about 2 months would be right at about adequate for that. The implementation stage, this is where you would actually implement the source water protection plan that you had established the outline for. You would start any upgrades that were approved by the U.S. Corps of Army Engineers. Also, you could start the education process on the public. We're putting this timetable at 1 to 2 years, depending on permit needs. How long it takes to get the permits is the main problem is getting the permits in this stage. And then after all this is done, 14 to 16 months, we suggest in the research that you have an evaluation stage where you look at all the changes made, all the progress made, and you decide at that point, do you need to go farther, or is your source water protection plan where you think it should be at that point? We're putting that at about a 2-month time period. By the time you have, some more public meetings on it, you have executive board meetings on it. You look at all the data that the health department has gathered at that point, and at that point, you'll know whether you've done enough or if you need to go back and add some more into it. Thank you for listening and coming out today, David. Is there any questions?
No, sir, you did very well. Thank you for your time, and you raised a lot of good points, and we will take those under advisement. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.